Hey, you guys. So glad you are joining us today. We have something really exciting for you. Today, I have a special guest. His name's Sean McCormick, and he's been able to triple his income with a strategy that we're going to be talking about today. And we definitely want to be able to, help you guys in this specific area. So Sean actually started his own online tutoring business about 2 years ago, and he has been helping kids with executive functioning, things that they need help with. And you know what's cool about this is he has an amazing strategy for being able to get clients, but it got to a point where he couldn't serve all of the students that he had, and he had to make a decision inside of his business. And that was, do I continue with where I'm at right now and just kind of preserve my business, or do I grow it to the next level where I keep adding on some other tutors into my business and I am able to make some additional income that way as well? And he decided to take that second path. You're going to learn, is this the right path for me? Now, some of you guys have taken the survey of, are you ready to start hiring other tutors? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to share those details with you so you can kind of see where you fall if you did take that survey, but then also, why are these things even important when it comes to my tutoring business if I want to be able to add on some other tutors into the mix? So that's what we're going to be chatting about today. I'm so glad that you guys joined us. We have an amazing group of you guys already sharing with us and learning with us. We've got Cambridge Academic Tuition here. Hello. We've got our wonderful Robert in the house. Woot woot. At Main Street Math Tutoring, he is our calculus king. Elizabeth is in the house as well, and many more of you guys are here. Nancy, welcome. So glad you guys are here. And if you can do me a favor and put inside of the chat who you are, where you're from, we'd love to be able to welcome you. We also want to be able to answer any questions that you have when it comes to hiring other tutors. So you definitely want to stay for the entire thing today so that you can get the most information about growing your business to this level. So help me welcome you guys, Sean McCormick. Woo!
Thank you, Joanne. I'm really pleased to be here. Really excited to be speaking and sharing my story, and then also trying to inspire everyone out there who wants to grow their business to whatever vision they have.
Yeah, and it's absolutely possible. And I think that you've gotten success so quickly right out of the gate, and to know that somebody can build a business so quickly that it doesn't have to take, they say it usually takes about 3 to 5 years to really build like a business that's going to make a profit. That you're already at this stage where you're making a huge profit inside of your business is absolutely amazing. So thank you for joining us and be able to share your wisdom with us. So how did you get started with tutoring in the first place?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's interesting to hear you say, like, right out the gate, because I'm like, yeah, I guess it is, but it feels like, there was 10 years of mistakes that led to like, oh, finally I figured it out, and so I think we kind of talked about this on my podcast, but you have to go through a lot and kind of get frustrated a few times and make some mistakes and go down the wrong path to end up and be like, this is the right way for me. So just to get started, my background right out of high school, I did an education program called City Year, and it's an AmeriCorps program where I volunteered for a year, and it was wonderful. I worked in New York City. I'm from California, but that really got my feet in the door of just like educating others. And I worked in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn for a year and ran literacy programs. And then from there, I went to college, and after college, I did random jobs. I worked in a bakery. I tried to make music, and that was fine, but didn't bring in any income. And then after that, I moved up to Buffalo. My wife was going to medical school up there, and I decided that I had to do something. I was like, man, I don't have a career. I've graduated college, but what am I going to do? So the one group that would have me was substitute teachers, the public school substitute teaching. I applied for probably 30 jobs. I was working at a cafe, and I got the substitute teaching job. And I remember getting my first paycheck for, $100 a day there. And I was like, oh man, I've made it. I felt so good. But from there, I worked at a school that they were like, hey, Sean, you should go check out this school for students with special needs. They'd probably hire you to be there every day. So I got that job, and I was making $13 an hour there. And I was like, this is the life. I started ordering stuff on Amazon. I was like, I'm just doing it right. And, but that job really showed me how much of a need there was for special education. supports and services, and just patient people who could break things down into small steps. And I realized that's kind of my calling. I'm good at this. It felt good to be needed and to be useful to people. So I joined Teach for America and applied for a scholarship to get my master's in teaching, and got into the program and taught for a year in Buffalo. And following that, I moved back to California, and that's where I reached out to my old school district that I went to high school at, and I said, hey, are there any jobs for special ed teachers? And they said, well, we've got this one job we're trying to start. It's a counseling rich classrooms. We're basically just like, there was nothing, they're like, we're going to put a portable down and you can build the classroom and work with the 13 students in our district who haven't had a good fit in our district, have been challenging. So they've either had to go to residential treatment, or we're just looking for a better fit. So I spent 4 years doing that. And while starting that program, one of my mom's friends said, hey, will you tutor my son? He's got an IEP and he could use some extra help. So I tutored him, and I was charging, where I live, tutoring goes, the starting rate is kind of high, and I had a master's degree. So I started at $75 an hour, and I worked with that student for 2 or 3 years, didn't know how to get any other clients, and wasn't really putting too much energy into it while working my other job. But on the 4th year of teaching, my wife and I just had a child, and I just started to realize like I wanted something different. I wanted more flexibility. So I had 2 clients at this point. One was $75 an hour and one was $90. And I just started trying to figure it out. I was like, what do I have to do to figure this out? And so I started Googling, and I said, how to build a tutoring business. And I found you.
Ah.
That was like the first step. Like, I was like, okay, there's a community. Okay, there's other people who want to do this. So this was around probably December of 2019 or January 2020. And I started just Googling it. And when I get into something and I'm like, look, I got to figure this out, I just go crazy. So, I started watching your videos. I started just researching how to find clients. I started, trying to interview as many people as possible. I think that's one of the biggest steps. And that's what my podcast is just asking people questions like, how do I get more clients? How do I do this? And just asking. And eventually the answers will pop up. But around that, I met one person. So I'd probably gone out and spoke with like 50 psychologists and, tutoring coaches and whatever, different people. And one psychologist was like, hey, you're pretty cool. Like, I'm gonna pass a few of my overflow clients to you. So he gave me two clients to work with. And I just busted my butt doing everything I could for those clients. Like, I just went above and beyond to make sure that, these kids went from D's to B's and A's. I just did whatever I could, and I demonstrated my worth. And those 2 clients, they became my like evangelists. They went out and spread the word. They were like, Sean did this. They love talking about it. What parent doesn't want to talk about their kid going from D's to B's and A's? And so not only did they talk about it, but one of the parents ended up suing the school district because they hadn't provided their student with support. So they talked to that lawyer about it. And that lawyer was like, oh my God, this guy could help all of my clients. So she just started sending me, she has, I don't know, she sent me so many clients, probably 20 to 30 clients in less than a year, people who are just frustrated. No one was helping their kids appropriately, and just started sending them my way. And I realized after having about 30 clients that I had no more time in the day. I was working from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And another thing I do is I would go through all my students' assignments every day and check if they were missing anything and send them updates. So I was like, all right, well, I can't do that all day and work with clients directly all day. So I called my cousin. I was like, hey, do you mind, if I get permission from my client's family, will you go through their portals and send me pictures of missing and upcoming assignments? So she started doing that for me. And that allowed me to at least keep the kind of quality of service at a peak. But then I realized like people kept coming to me and I said, well, I can't take anyone else on, but I don't want to just turn this money away. So I said to my other cousin, I was like, hey, could you help, with this client? I've been working with him for a year, but he really just needs someone to sit with him and help him submit things and follow through and double check his work. And I communicated this with the family. We worked out and charged them a lower price than my rate. And that just grew into that. And then, one client was like, well, I don't really want to work with a college student. I need someone credentialed like you. So I was like, okay, well, let me put the word out. So I started posting on Facebook and, going on Indeed and saying, hey, does anyone, know a credentialed special education teacher that was looking for flexible work? And it came to me, and I hired her, and then I started utilizing that. So I just really try to listen to what my clients want, or complain about, and provide that need. Now, the other part is the rates. All along the way, I was like, let me charge a higher rate. If I've got 10 clients on on the next one, I'm going to raise my rates by this. And I didn't go like, oh, I'm going to raise it by $2. I was like, I set a goal at $90. I was like, let me charge 120. I was like, what do I have to do? And and I talked to my friends. We had a little goals group that we were hanging out at, and they're like, well, just practice saying it. So my rate is 120. I did that, and it worked. People are happy to pay it. You'd be amazed. I think I was amazed, and you'd be amazed that people will pay whatever it takes to solve the problem. And if I only have this amount of time, and this is what I can offer, then, that's the agreement. Like, and people are happy. People are grateful. Out of, 100% of my clients, there's maybe 1 out of 30 that begrudgingly pays and expresses it vocally. But most people are grateful for someone who cares and will invest in their kid and gives them their best self. So I just kept doing that. I went from 120 to 200. And then I was like, well, let me go up to 230. And I was like, you know what, let me go up to 259. And I was like, I'll go to 295. So that's where I got, so that's the kind of big 30,000 foot view of this last couple of years for me.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. And a lot of us don't take that into consideration, or all the years that we went into like really honing in on the craft, because that's what you were doing when you were in the school system, is honing in on the craft to be able to be good at what you do. And then you were able to get some results right out of the gate that were so astounding that it caught the attention of somebody who wanted to sue the school district, and then be able to start hooking you up with, that lawyer that had already had all these other clients. I mean, just an incredible story that you've shared. And I think, obviously all of us can't go to, find a parent that's going to sue the school district and get their lawyer to start referring us. That's not, something we can all start trying, but it's amazing how that referral process for you just blew up your business and was absolutely incredible. And to see the kinds of results, I love how you started small with getting somebody else to say like, okay, here's one task that would make my job easier. It's almost like a VA for your business, right? Like, if I could take this piece out of my business and hand that to someone, because it's kind of putsy. It's not like I can't do it. Like, I can do it. I just don't have the time to do it. It's putsy. It's not hard. I can teach them how to do it. You taught them how to do it, and bam. And now you've got this incredible business. And I think that's so awesome. We had Magnolia Beauty. She is just so grateful that you're even here today and sharing your story. I'm so glad, Magnolia, that you continue to show up inside of the community and join us in here, because the information that you can get here is golden, even if you just take the free content, right? And you don't even move on up to a next level. You heard John McCormick here. He was watching my videos, right? And he was able to glean as much information as he could. That's what it's about. This is about us being able to help each other as an industry. I really do think that we can start moving from the idea that tutoring is a part-time or a supplemental kind of thing to tutoring can be a career. Not only that, but an extremely profitable career, and not in the way that a lot of people can feel like is making you like someone who's just out to get people's money or anything like that, right? But you honestly provide a great service that people are dying to pay you for, right? And I think you've done that, Sean. You've done that for yourself. And you continue to grow in just magnificent levels with your business. And what motivates you to keep doing this? I'm curious.
Yeah, no, I love everything you're saying. I mean, it's like there's so many, when I hear what you're saying too, I want to get to the motivating part, but I want to just address a few of those things. Like, as far as, 3 years ago, I was posting ads on Craigslist trying to sell. I would order good cell phones, and then I would post them on Facebook and try and resell them for a $20 profit, for someone who didn't want to go out. Like, I tried so many things. I had planned my own wedding. And so I posted on Craigslist and was trying to plan people's weddings, and help them with that, because I wanted some type of way. I'm an entrepreneur by heart, and this is while teaching, but the thing that you have that you may not know you have is you have an incredible skill set. If you are patient enough to work with a student with a challenge and walk them through something, that you may be the only person in that student's life who's willing to do that, you know? And so that realization in itself, that I have a really special skill set, and learning how to value that. And I only got that by talking to people around me. My brother is an artist. He's a very successful artist. And I said, like, hey, here's what I'm doing. I'm trying to, like, post ads on Craigslist. I'm selling cell phones. Like, I want to make some side income from teaching. He's like, dude, you have a master's degree in teaching. Like, what are you doing? He's like, and just that wake up call, like, wait, that's true. Like, my brother didn't even go to college, but he's built an extremely successful business. And him looking at me like someone who spent 10 years in education or whatever, he's like, dude, you need to leverage what you have. And so for everyone out there, like, you have something special. I'm sure of it. Everybody does. Yep. And you have something that lights you up and you're good at naturally. And then with your education or whatever you have in your background, like, no one else can do what you do in your space. So I know it's hard to realize sometimes, but that's what I kept honing in on. I was like, I have something special. And, acknowledging that is, so I think that motivates me, right? Is like, the more I realize, like, wow, I actually have a gift to share with the world. And it's this not weird, but unique combination of loving teaching and being an entrepreneur. And like, when you said, oh, we're not just tutors who, want to grab for money, like, that narrative that if you want to make money and teach, you're somehow wrong. And that's a real narrative. Like, when I see people repost my work, or guests share that they're going to be on my show, and they're like, oh, that's so messed up that you would want to, make more tutoring or earn more tutoring is such a crass title or whatever, like, people like have a problem with it. And that narrative that we've established culturally, that you're wrong or morally wrong to want to make money for your skill. It's okay with every other industry, right? It's okay to make money if you're a business owner, or you sell cars, or you, whatever you do. It's always okay. But yet for teachers and educators to want to make money, there's somehow like this like gray area, and that's wrong. I think that's wrong. And I want to shatter that. And I hope you realize that you are very valued. And people, look, private schools, colleges, they're charging $100,000, $50,000 a year. No one's questioning them. So why you as an individual, why would you not, have the right to charge? And you're not making anyone pay for your services. You're like, this is my rate. Like, you can work with me or not, Yep. So don't listen to them, listen to your heart. Yeah. Listen to your heart and your mind, and value yourself, because the world, teachers, educators are constantly devalued. And if you get caught up in that, it's not going to help you. So challenge that narrative. But what motivates me? Well, I love helping people. Like, I'm such a giver by heart. I think most educators are, and I love to give and share. And like, so that, being able to work with a student and show them how to send an email template, or how to make a calendar and set reminders, like all those things, like, I love it, because I used to struggle with that stuff. And I used to be like kind of disorganized, or very disorganized. And so being able to help someone develop the gift of organization, and being able to manage their time and follow their dreams and their goals, like I did and am doing. And that, to me is priceless, and I love it. So that motivates me. And then also being the best at what I do, and like leaving a legacy, right? Like, if I can really show educators that there's a pathway to have a career, to have whatever you want, to have a functioning, successful education business that really provides value to your customers and creates jobs for others. Like, I have a team of people that can do what I do, that they have their own time, they make their own schedule, they work, I pay them fairly, and they're making more than they would make in another job. That, like, I just feel like I'm living my dream and my life's purpose. So I think that motivates me, is continuing to just move towards what I want my life to look like.
I love that. I love that. Like, are you guys hearing this? Are you getting this? Like, such awesome stuff. Like, just type in the chat, yes, if you just love everything that you guys are hearing. I want to hear it. I want to hear you guys shouting from the rooftop, like, yes, I know my worth. I know that I can charge this. I know that, at the end of the day, we're turning out doctors, lawyers. We're turning out, the next president of the United States. We are turning out the next person who's going to learn how to, just completely explode the whole like universe to be able to do the next big thing that we need it to do. And and we are making that happen, right? And so we need to stand our ground and say, hey, like, I know what I'm worth, I know the result that I can get, and just do it. Because guess what, when you can do it, people are going to pay you what you're worth. We're not the high school tutor guys, right? We are legit people that have a passion to do what it is that we do. And there is at a point where you're going to be in business and you're going to all of a sudden establish yourself either through referrals, through networks, through advertising. You have so many leads coming in your inbox, you can't take them all. And so we're going to take a look at right now some of the different data points that we saw and why are they important when it comes to thinking about are you ready to hire a tutor? So I'm going to share my screen with you guys so that you can see it here. Let's come on over, take a bigger look here at this one. This question was, let's see what happened here. Something is missing and not right. Like all of a sudden my screen didn't want to show up right. So I'm just going to share it this way. So the first question was, how many current students do you currently have? So I was just sharing this data with Sean. I'm like, okay, so here's where, people who took the survey, this is exactly where they line up. And what were some of the things that you noticed like right out of the gate, Sean?
Yeah, I think one thing I noticed is that, everybody can benefit from, good coaching and support. And I think that, what we're working on together, developing a course to help people grow their tutoring practice, you're going to get so much from it just by being around people who can help you understand the steps you can take. But, I was looking at this number here, this 21 plus people who answered, or people who have 21 or more students, and thinking, I remember being in that position, like, man, I was getting up to 20, 25 and thinking, what do I do? Like this is not sustainable. I was burning myself out. Right. And so sustainability is always the key, right? Like if you love what you're doing, sustainability comes in multiple forms, but one of them is like having free time. One of my guests on my podcast recently said, like, I schedule feminine and masculine days. Masculine days are where I do tons of tutoring. Feminine days are where I go on hikes and relax. And like, you need to have balance in your life for you to be the best tutor you can be for your students. So when you start to feel that, you're getting too many students, you want to come up with methodologies and strategies and processes for managing that. And if you're like me, where you don't want to turn people away, you want to provide them with what they're looking for, even if you're not necessarily doing it. You got to remember, there's a lot of talented people. You're surrounded by them. Everybody in this room watching this video, I'm sure, is an extremely talented tutor. And so collaborating with others around you, they may need more clients. You know what I mean? You need more breaks, but you have too many people coming in. So really think about your network and be a resource-based thinker. And, so that's what I think of when I look at this. And then for the people, with 6 to 10 clients, you've already got 6 to 10. Maybe there's a small change, or even look, 1 to 5. As I was telling you, I had one client who went out and evangelized, or 2, but one really, who went out and just shared my story. So really connecting with your clients and seeing what their pain points are. Are you meeting them? And then what can you do to really like make the best out of that situation? Because you can always go to your customers and just talk to them and say like, hey, what would you like to see? What do you need more of? Like, how can I be a better support for your family? And really understanding their needs. And that's 5 people that will go out and spread your message and feel heard by you. I mean, think about how good you feel when you go to a hotel or whatever it may be, and someone's like, hi, Mr. McCormick, like, would you like a fresh towel? Or, whatever it may be. Like when someone gives you a little better customer service, that's what we do. We're not just tutors, we're business owners. And we have to really look at anytime you buy something or do anything or are visiting a website, how are people presenting their sales to you? How do they engage you? Isn't it nice to buy from someone who really values you and, learns your name and understands your preferences? Do the same thing for your clients. So that's kind of the thoughts I had, when I looked at that first data metric.
Yeah, absolutely. And and I think what's cool, I mean, just they're getting students. Every single person that is taking this, they've gotten students. They're not at the point where they're at like 0 students. They don't know how to get any students. Like you're at the point where you now do know how to get students. Every single person. is amazing. Awesome. And 0 people skipped this question. So this is, everyone answered and they've got it. The next one was, do you ever have to turn down students because you no longer have spots? Now, I know I have done this, and I've started rethinking about how do I want to organize my tutoring business. And, I've referred them on out to other people that are great tutors and I know are going to appreciate being able to have the business. And look at the percentage here, like 42% of people have had to turn down students because they didn't have any more spots. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. And that's something when I realized I'm never turning down students,
Yep.
I was like, if someone's coming to me and I'm the the person that somehow they've found me in the universe, whether, because you don't really know where everyone's coming from. It could be from any type of conversation, but they've gone out of their way to reach out to me. I'm going to make it possible for me to serve them if it's within the range of my, if it's education support. Obviously, if they come in there, can you repair my car? I'm going to refer out. But if they're coming to me for some type of education purpose, I am going to do whatever it is in my power to serve them. So people have come to me and needed behavior support. I'm not necessarily the best behavior supportist, but I know people who can do it. And so I reach out to them. I say, hey, what's your rate? They're like, okay, I charge X. I'm like, all right, look, if I pay you that, can I contract with you? I'll do all the billing. The family works with me. You just have to work with the student and do what you do at your rate. They're like, sure, sounds great. I love another client. And then the families, I'm like, okay, here, I do a surcharge on it. Maybe I add 20%, 40%. I don't know. I figure it out in the situation. I charge, I just manage all the billing and kind of oversee the case and make sure the goals are being met. But it's a win-win for everybody. The family doesn't have to build a new relationship with another provider that they may not know or want. I'm overseeing it. I'm ensuring the goals are being met. I'm making some money doing that. And also the person's getting their rate. So that's just one little step you can take. Yeah, it takes some ownership. You gotta own your business. You know what I mean? You gotta step in and take control of the flow of money and of the service. And if you want that, you can have that. But that's what it means to be a boss.
Right.
It's stepping in and taking control of things. So that's how I see it.
I think that's really cool. And some of us, this is going to be a natural next step for us. And some of us, we may decide that we want other, arms to our business that we want to be able to bring in that additional income, right? So just know that this is just one path. It isn't the only path, right, for tutors. Like if you decide that you want to be able to sell courses, or you decide you want to write books, or you decide you want to, do all these other things as well, you absolutely can. This is just like one other thing to kind of think about that you can do with your business and how you can go about it. And I think the way that Sean's talking about this is just so magnificently beautiful, because you can take a look at, we had another question on over here. And I think, this one, we're going to move on to this one because it fits in so naturally with what we're talking about is, let's say we had mentioned this before. If you're at that $41 to $75 an hour rate, right? You can be reaching down to these people that are at the $26 to $40 rate. And you could say, hey, if I were to contract with you, right? And I do all of the work, I do all the heavy lifting for you. All you have to do is show on up. Then you charge what you're already charging for your tutoring services. You're overseeing the entire process. And now you're able to bring in some additional income. So let's say that you now are charging $30 more for the service than they would have been paying. Maybe they were paying $40 and now they're going to pay $70 for the tutoring service, right? So you sell it at the $70, you pay the tutor what they wanted to get for the tutoring services anyways, yet they didn't have to go on out and do all that work. It's kind of a win-win, isn't it?
That's for sure a win-win. And yeah, Joanne, I wanted to just to comment on the point you made. Like, yeah, my method is not going to be everybody's method, but remember this: if someone's coming to you and wants to give you money, you can either turn them away or you can accept the universe bringing money to you and offering it. Now, yes, you can go do a course and all that. And that was my idea at first. I told my brother's always just like, he's got a very direct way of speaking to me, which helps me. And I said like, well, okay, now my business is growing, so I'll do a course. And he's like, dude, no one's coming to you for courses. He's like, they're coming to you for tutoring. So remember this, you gotta provide value first, right? Or you have to be solving problems. Like, don't create a whole course and do all this stuff if no one's asking you for a course? And you're so good at this, Joanne. Like, you identify where the value is, what people want, and then you provide it to your audience, right? You don't just create things and hope someone's going to buy it. And that's what I used to do, right? I was like, let me build this website and, come up with this idea, and then someone's going to want it. No, like, people are already reaching out to you, and you just have to listen. They're like, do you know someone who can help me? Like, if you can't help me, do you know someone? They're asking for your help, and you have to hear what the universe is saying to you, and then provide, serve the people who have called upon you to. And so that's, one thing to think about is, like, don't create a bunch of stuff that no one's asking for. Listen to what people are saying and provide that, and also value what your skill. Look, if people are coming to you, it's because you've built a reputation based on years of education and service and positive engagements. That referral is the most valuable thing in the universe, right? For you. And so don't just be like, oh, I'm just passing this along. Like, yeah, if you want to, if you don't want to build a tutoring business, of course, pass it along, and I do that at times. But if that's your value, that's the reputation that you've created. And, you're a small business. So you think of these companies like Varsity Tutors or all these online companies, like, they don't even know most of their clients. This is just a there's no connection. You're connected to this person who you're working with. You have a personal relationship, which is also high value for the student and the family, that there's accountability. So, why let Varsity Tutors or whoever make all the money, doing what they do, when you could provide a way better product because it's personalized, individualized within your network, so that's just consider that.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are beautiful, beautiful points. And even Nancy typed on in here, abundance. Allow abundance to come to you.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, it really, really can. And I love, Magnolia, you put in here, that's right, be a solution to the problem and value your skill set. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's true. Remember that.
Absolutely. Now, we had some people when it came to, hiring tutors, that was one of the questions, like, how do you feel hiring other tutors? Some people said they felt extremely confident. Some were very confident. But most people felt down here somewhat confident, not so confident, not at all confident. I mean, this is where the majority of people kind of rested here. And so, what are your thoughts as you take a look at this?
Yeah, well, I had a guest on the other day, and she was talking about posting on social media. And she's like, it feels so uncomfortable to post and do live streams, but I got to do it. You know what I mean? I got to spread the message. And she said, and also doing that gets me in touch with that feeling that all my students are feeling when I'm teaching them something new, or I'm asking them to try emailing their teachers when they're avoidant and nervous. Like, I'm tapping into that feeling of trying something new. And if you have a vision of wanting a larger brand and wanting to work with others, like, you got to go through the trials, you got to go through the hard stuff. So yeah, you may not be at all confident. Do you know how uncomfortable I was when I was like, I'm going to raise my rates from 90 to 120. And I had to practice saying that in the mirror, and I laughed at myself, and I was embarrassed because I could not, with a straight face, ask for more money, and it's the same thing with hiring people or whatever task is the next step in your journey. If you have that vision, it's going to be scary. It's going to be hard. But if you're willing to go through that stuff, that's what makes you great. You know what I mean? And that's what separates you from everybody else out there. So, yeah, I would say push forward and try the things you're scared at. Isn't that the point of life? Like, to kind of like move beyond our fear and into the things that, require our courage. So
yeah. And who wants to turn down recurring income? I mean, at the end of the day, is it going to be easier? So a lot of us do go into course creation and thinking about doing courses. I sell courses. I love selling courses, and I love being able to do that. But at the same time, my membership, I enjoy my membership even more, because every time I sell a course, I have to sell that individually. What I love about my membership is that happens every single month. It's bringing in money, regardless if I sell a course or not. And this is the same kind of thing. Regardless if you are specifically working with the students or not, your company is bringing in money, right? And so you got to get comfortable. You got to get uncomfortable. You got to get comfortable doing the uncomfortable. How's that? Right? You got to get comfortable doing the uncomfortable, because at the end of the day, you might not feel comfortable hiring other tutors, but you're going to learn a lot from the process. You're going to start
Right.
learning, like, what do you need to be able to look for when you are looking. So I know you had said that you hire different types of tutors. Do you look for tutors that have the credentials? Do you hire some tutors without credentials? Tell me about that.
Yeah, well, at first I was just hiring, my cousin, and then my cousin had two roommates who one was a math major and the other one was a business major, and they were super helpful in those, starting stages. They're still super helpful, but they gave me the support I needed as I was growing. And then as I listened to my customers and they were like, we love what you're doing, but we also want other people like you who have, special education credentials. I was like, okay, let me refocus my hiring process to ask for that, or, to kind of think about that. You're always going to face things as you grow and go into places you don't know, where you don't know how to do it, but the resources are there. Just start Googling it. Just start talking to people. There's so many wise, intelligent people out there who have gone through these things and solved problems. And if you're willing to put your questions out into the universe and ask questions and be uncomfortable for a little bit, the answers will present themselves, as long as you keep holding that vision. For me, I wanted that. I wanted a team. I want passive income. I want to manage and oversee things, and have more flexibility with my time. So keeping that vision close to my heart and just trying to do good the whole way. The other part is you always have to be doing good. Like, the universe is not going to gift you and reward you if you're doing anything negative or wrong. You may get a little short-term gain, but you have to keep that in mind, and you have to listen to people, and you have to say, does this work for you? And ask for consent. You can never push people into anything or give them something they don't want. So that's what I'm always doing. I'm just like, here's what I want. Let me start asking, let me ask people, does this work for you? Checking in, and it works. It happens, it starts to unfold. And I feel like I'm just at the beginning of my journey. You know what I mean? Like, even though I've reached this point, I feel like I can see, in the distance, and I know where I want to go. And that vision can get clearer and clearer as you commit to it.
Yeah, it really, really can. And that's the really cool part about all of this is, the more that you grow, it's amazing. You think that you're just going to be happy, like at this one little spot right here. Like, I just wanted to replace my income, when I first got started. And I really didn't have this big grandiose idea of, owning this huge tutoring business and being able to, help other tutors and do all of that. It was really just, I want to be able to replace my income. And can I do that with tutoring? That was my starting point. And then my vision began to grow when I started to see what was possible. That's when my vision started to grow. Like, wait, this is possible, and this is possible. Wouldn't it be cool if? Well, let's try that. And it's a lot of trial and error that comes into place, and putting the pieces into place as well. It's really, really exciting. Really, really exciting stuff, you guys. And it's really awesome listening to the comments that you guys have as well inside of here. So thank you guys for joining us. We've got a couple more details that we're going to share with you here. And one of those, oops.
Can I throw one thing in there, Joanne?
Yeah.
I wanted to say the one thing that helped me, I mean, many things helped me, but one of the most important things that helped me on my journey was just hearing other people's stories. When I started to hear how people did it and just listening to their story, even though it didn't directly relate to mine, that gave me the kind of imagination to imagine something different for myself. So like, that's why I interviewed you, Joanne, in my podcast. I just try to ask people, like, tell me your story, lay it out for me. So I at least have a framework for imagining different realities within the sphere of my kind of skill set, right? Like, if I'm listening to a story about a horse jockey, like, that's not too applicable to my reality. But if you're listening to people like education entrepreneurs or like that, and just hearing their story, it's going to give you the ability and the skill to imagine what your reality could look like. So I would say the more you can hear stories of people that have kind of like gone before you and tried things, the more it's going to like help you on your journey.
Yeah, I love that. Now, we do need to, if you're going to be ready to be able to, build this passive income by bringing in other tutors. And we have to be careful when we say passive, because there's still a job that you have to do. This isn't hiring other tutors and just charging more for the services, right? Like, you actually do have to put work into parts of it, right? You're overseeing it. Yeah,
of course. It's hard work. Let's not, when I say passive, it's passive in the sense that people are making money while you're not there, and you are taking, or you are making, a portion of that money. But there's all types of things that go into it, and it's hard work. It gets easier the more you do it, right? The more you learn how to manage clients and manage tutors and work effectively with them to support them. Like, for example, with TutorBird, like every time I have a challenge or something I need to help one of my tutors with, I write it in an email in TutorBird. I send it to the tutor, and then I save it as a template. So next time it happens to another person, and TutorBird has that feature of templates, but Gmail has that. There's other ways to do that, but you don't want to be repeating the same thing over and over. Or you create a recorded video of how to do something, and then you just save that in a library of recorded videos that you share. So you're not redoing the same thing over and over. So you do have to optimize your time, but that's what this is all about. It's like, how do you optimize your time and be more efficient while still providing like the best possible service and product?
Exactly. So you can be more present for the people that matter in your life, and so that you can also do the things that you care about the most in your life as well. And you don't ever have to worry about money not being the reason why you can't do the things that you want to be able to do in life, right? I think so many times teachers us teachers, we say, oh, well, that's not possible for me because I don't make that kind of money. Like other people can do these kinds of things, but I can't. But when you start running your business the way that Sean and I are talking about here, some pretty awesome things begin to happen. All of a sudden, you're making the amount of money more than you ever could have imagined making as a teacher. And you're helping people, and you're providing an amazing service, and more clients are coming to you as a result because they want to be able to work with you in your tutoring business. Like this really is a legit way to be able to make some really good money, be able to reach all those goals that you have in your life, and to be there for the people in your life that matter. So we do need to have some ways of being able to get students, and I feel like the more ways that you have that you can be good at, that obviously has the ability. Every single one of these has the ability to generate clients. In the beginning, it's a trickle, right? We get this like trickle down effect. So you want to start playing with some different strategies that you can be utilizing to be able to get students. So, one of the big things I started off with was SEO because of my 5 failed businesses that I had. So SEO was something that I could utilize again. And being able to build this business, like, okay, well, can I now that I've learned how to do SEO because of these 5 failed businesses, can I apply that to this business? And guess what? It worked. I was able to do it. And I was able to get clients from, I got a client from Australia because I ended up doing I visited a classroom in Australia. I just would like volunteer my time and read books to the kids and let the teacher know what it is that I did. And she would then write up a little post inside of her newsletter for the week. Hey, we had a special guest this week. Her name's Joanne Kaminski. She's from the US. She tutors kids that are struggling with reading online. And here's her website. And then I would have parents reaching on out to me and from other countries. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I was able to say, today I was live in wherever it was in Australia. So reading tutor from Australia, reading tutor from that specific area in Australia. And I had people finding me because I used that as my keyword in the video. So SEO can work. Social media can work. Paid advertising can work. Referrals can work. Your website can work. Podcasts can work. Getting featured as a guest. That's going to make you stand out as an expert. I can see that we need a lot of help in our community learning how to get on podcasts there, Sean, or even starting our own podcast. Videos can work. Email lists. When people see your videos, oh my gosh, it takes you to a whole nother level. Like they really start to feel like they can connect with you. I'll never forget the time where I shared a story about about my reading journey. How I struggled with reading growing up and why I became passionate about helping other kids. And when was the very first time that I could actually comprehend what I was reading and what was that experience like? And then what were some of the things that happened as a result? So because I wasn't a good reader, I wasn't able to take a language. And I shared that story on a video, you guys. And I literally had a client contact me the next day in my inbox wanting to hire me because she said that I was the best fit because I could actually understand what her daughter was going through. So getting into that empathy can really help. But why do you think it's important to know how to get students so that you can have this profitable business model, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, there's no perfect way, right? Like you don't know when you're going to find for me, for example, I had one client, but they weren't the type of, the family was not the type of family that was evangelizing or spreading the word, right? And that's fine. You don't have to expect that. But I think just continuing to try to create kind of referral sources, like you don't know exactly what's going to hit. And I love this concept of 1% changes from Atomic Habits. He talks about like, you got to keep doing these little things and eventually they're going to compound and you're going to have 75 people talking about you every day or whatever. But it takes like, keep doing those coffee meetings, keep doing those, Zoom, I email people all the time. Every time I hear about someone, or there's like an education specialist at the school that I'm working with a student, I'll reach out and be like, hey, I'd love to learn more about what you do. Who's the right, student for your school, so I can potentially send people your way. So be interested in others. I would say start there. Be very interested in the people around you, particularly the people who are doing what you're doing or serving your dream clients, in one respect or another. So for me, psychologists and people who are doing assessments serve my dream clients. My dream clients go to them, spend $5,000 to $6,000 on an assessment, and then they need a plan following that assessment. So not necessarily the people who are directly doing the same thing you're doing, though you can learn a lot from them, of course, and that's a good group of people to be connected with and maybe be in a mastermind group or something. But think about the people who are on the kind of sales journey, I want to say, are going, so if there's, for example, if you're a Spanish tutor, right? That person is probably starting by, I don't know, going to the local Spanish immersion school, right? And like applying there. And then they want a tutor to help them stay caught up with their class, right? So go make friends with the director of admissions there or whatever it may be. Or maybe there's a Spanish summer camp. Go make friends with the director of the camp, and talk to them, ask them what they do, learn about them. And you're just going to be in those people's minds. And then you keep building those relationships. And now you have, 40 people who are aware of you as the Spanish tutor that also have kids coming to Spanish, get Spanish support. So that's just one kind of like methodology. But of course, like all these different methods, they're all going to work, but I would say the closer you can come to human interaction, as opposed to being like a faceless kind of like image, the better, right? You have to create human connection and interaction to really impact people. And it can't just be, think about the way that you like to get advertised to, that you like to get sold into a product, like, or, a service. Like you don't like when someone's like, buy this, you're like, hey, Sean, like, I noticed that you go here often. Like, can I tell you about something? You know what I mean? Like, it's like, think about how you like to be sold to and then try to sell to others in that same way, because you like it, and other people like it too.
Absolutely. So we're taking a look at, so when you think about adding tutors to the mix, how do you feel? And we had people that were feeling overwhelmed with the whole thought of being able to add on other tutors. We have lots of people that are excited. Most people feel unprepared for how to be able to add tutors to the mix. And this is where Sean and I are going to be able to come on in and be able to help you guys with this next stage, because we're going to be doing a free webinar. So stay tuned, because it's going to be coming out in the next couple of weeks. I will let you guys know once we have it ready for you guys to sign up for and to be able to join us, because we want to help prepare you for this journey so that you can be able to build your business, your dream business, the way that you want to be able to build it. We are here for you to support you and guide you. So if your goal is to be able to make more money with your tutoring business, definitely stay tuned. We are here to help. I just want to say thank you so much, Sean, for coming and joining with us, sharing your story, and kind of talking about, some of these important things that need to be in place for tutors to be able to start adding tutors. I want to know from you guys, are you excited about this? Like, does this excite you? Are you excited about the whole thought of being able to add tutors to the mix for your business? If so, type in a, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I want to see it, you guys. Oh yeah, I am ready. Type it in. Whether you are here in the live chat, whether you're watching this on a replay, I want to hear how excited you guys are about being able to make additional money this way. Remember, this is recurring month to month to month. That means that you don't have to sell your clients over and over and over again, right? And And people that have hired you once for a specific service, they're going to be more likely to hire you for the next and the next and the next and the next. So you know what, you guys, if you're ready to start exploding your business, stay tuned because we are going to be continuing to help you and guide you in this process. Thanks for joining us, everyone, today. You enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see all of you later. Bye.